All right, welcome back, everybody. What's going on?
What's happening, everybody? I am back with
Yeah,
the incredibly talented, incredibly handsome. Look at this fresh face, Neil Quinto.
and my main man, the maniac, the brainiac, Christopher Bernard, the one who makes the dynamic duo dynamic.
Ah, you are too kind, sir.
Plus one in this one.
Oh, you can do no. You're too kind, and the hair. I gotta just mention it. I've just accepted. This is my look now. This is it. I don't care. But you, each time I come,
I do another haircut.
and it looks good. It keeps getting better.
Oh, stop it, because then I'll never go back. That's the problem. I'll never go back to my barber.
He's gonna start coming to you.
Right. Role reversal. Speaking of role reversal, welcome to the Podcast and Chill Show, everybody. YouTube, Stitcher, Spotify. I got to shout out to Spotify.
You gotta shout out to Spotify because they owned it.
Oh my gosh, they're just making it rain and becoming the number one platform for podcasting. We are on Spotify. Neglected to mention that, and I should be, because the big news is the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, the inspiration for starting podcasts, at least for me anyways. He's signed a lucrative, some say around $100 million with, different bonus structures and things like that.
Yeah.
Exclusively on Spotify. Isn't that insane?
That is incredible. Congratulations to Joe. It's incredible. It's amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, and so I would have never thought that he would go the corporate route in that sense. I think he, at least in the beginning, very much like his material is his material, doesn't want to be coached, doesn't want to be influenced as to what he wants to talk about, at least in my opinion, or even the guests. But this, for me, is unlike the Howard Stern move, because I think that it's going to definitely change his program.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I just think it's relinquishing creative control now, and I'm a little nervous for it. So I want to say congratulations to Joe, and my condolences to his fans.
Oh man, do you think it's going to be that drastic of a change?
Unfortunately, I do, because it's $100 million is not there's no free reign in that, and they might make him think that he has it, but I just can't see. Just can't see him having the exact same show. Even the quality will change. You know what I mean? Remember I've talked to you about Ozark episodes. Yeah. Seasons 1 and 2 are grainy, dark. And then it's they got a budget increase for season 3, and it's her hair and makeup are much better, and it does.
That's right. That's right. Ruth is looking nicer. She got her hair done.
Your Podcast and Chill season 1 and 2, and then we got a little bit of money. Whoa, lighting!
Lighting! Oh my gosh, they got lighting! Oh. Big difference.
You know what I mean? Things are just different, and it seems like when they got more of a budget, even to me, the organicness of the nature of the show and the presentation, I don't know, it's just not what you originally got onto.
So you think that this multi-million-dollar deal will impact the content so much that it won't be as edgy?
I think he'll be handcuffed. Yeah, I think so. Will not come on anymore.
But is this a Spotify move to buy listeners?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, and that's what it is nowadays, right? You come with a following, and then they tap into your following. You know what I mean? And that's why Joe is so valuable. You're buying his database of listeners, right?
Yeah.
To me, his listeners are more on the liberal side or libertarian side. You know what I mean? and I think they value freedom of speech. I think they also value a free platform. So I'm thinking they're not going to pay for Spotify. My other thought, and I also said to myself, well, okay, they'll subscribe to the Spotify that has commercials, which won't matter anyway because they're subjected to the first 15 to 60 minutes of Joe's show is commercials. They just won't be on it, and 23andMe and Dollar Shave Club. It'll be whoever Spotify's sponsors are. But like you know what I'm saying? Like they'll get into a great heated debate or an amazing discussion, and then it'll be like, hold it right here for a minute with give us a minute for our sponsors. Or it just cuts in like without any warning.
Well, are you thinking it's going to be one of those talk radio shows that have more commercials than any talk or radio?
Oh God, I hope not. But I wonder. I'm not sure if the free version of Spotify is like that. Do you know? It's just riddled with commercials.
I think there are some commercials. I don't think there's many, and I can't remember. I canceled my subscription, and I haven't gone back to the free one. But it was I enjoyed the platform. I mean, I paid for it. I enjoyed paying for it and listening to it. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with how they're gonna. I think it'll be a lot of product placement.
Yeah.
It'll be just
an example.
Well, like you said, when he starts his podcast, it is advertising, and he's
That's what got to me eventually. Is like he just started and rambled on for so long, and he tried to make it non-commercially, and then just on length, it made it too commercially.
So this kind of feels like that natural progression. Like, hey, now maybe he doesn't have to do that at the beginning anymore. Maybe this will allow him to get back to some of that content, right? Now that it's like, yes, sign this deal, expect commercials, so I don't have to do it. They're going to do it.
Right. So all his other partnerships, his proprietary partnerships are out. Fair enough. But you know what? I don't, there's jealousy there. It's not like, there's not hate. It's like, I wish I had that. Some guys, they got it. And Joe Rogan, obviously a very shrewd, intelligent guy, and he's leveraged, his whatever his talent is. Like as a comedian, I don't even think of him as a comedian. Like he's a commentator from Fear Factor to UFC to the podcast, and now propelling the podcast into Spotify. Let's call it a radio show now. What do you call it? Satellite radio show, almost, right?
Yeah.
But he can evolve, even if in the past he said he wouldn't do that. Because I feel like fans like myself, when someone graduates to a different and higher level, you're kind of like, well, it's like people that love indie records. You know what I mean? They're just like, I just want to be the one to know it, and just my little inner circle. I don't want it to go mainstream. To me, that's like jujitsu's like that. Like what else is that? They don't want it to pop. They just want it for themselves. They're like, selfishly, you want it for yourself. You love it so much, and if you love it so much, you want to share it with everybody. But
yes.
Joe Rogan and edibles and jujitsu and all the things he's into. It's kind of like he's like the dude of all those things, hunting
and now it's mainstream, and it's like, oh,
you're going to the biggest platform, and he won't even be on YouTube anymore.
I didn't know that. So I assume that would still be a partnership of sorts, but
yeah, no, afraid not. It's okay. Here's his announcement. We should have led with this, but this will be great to listen to.
Everybody, I have an announcement. The podcast is moving to Spotify. I signed a multi-year licensing agreement with Spotify that will start on September 1st. Starting on September 1st, the entire JRE library will be available on Spotify as well as all the other platforms. Then somewhere around the end of the year, it will become exclusive to Spotify, including the video version of the podcast. It will be the exact same show. I'm not going to be an employee of Spotify. We're going to be working with the same crew doing the exact same show. The only difference will be it will now be available on the largest audio platform in the world. Nothing else will change. It will be free. It will be free to you. You just have to go to Spotify to get it. We're very excited to begin this new chapter of the JRE, and I hope you're there when we cross over. Hello, everybody. I
caught a lie in that. I read his body language.
I know, like, hey, he's seen it. Okay, what did you see?
Go ahead, say it first.
No. What did you see?
I look for the tells. I'm like, okay, and you often hear when someone's lying, they look to the side. And a number of times he tried to reiterate, nothing will change, Satan crew, blah, blah, blah. And then I think here it's like something, he says something and then he looks to the side.
Only difference will be it will now be available on the largest audio platform in the world. Nothing else will change.
Nothing else will change. Did you see it? Did you see it?
Yeah, I did.
All right, nothing else will change.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Sorry. I mean, okay. There it is, Spotify. There was one of those story mystery podcasts that signed last year, 2 years, 10 million a year. So it was headed in this.
Wow.
But yeah, until September 1st, you can access yada yada. But even YouTube has to relinquish the vodcast. The video version, like they won't even be able to watch that any longer.
Wow. So then, that's.
And I just think it's going to be different. It's not going to be the same JRE, and it's unfortunate because he's got 1,400 episodes, and he's been a, someone to look up to in terms of podcasting success and model and how you do it and what.
Absolutely. Well, here's the thing. He came and he started this thing, and so I guess now, between now and September, a lot of people are looking for the next evolution of what the podcast is or could be, right?
Yes, exactly. So begs the question, are other big names going to follow suit? Are they going to sign others to the roster? Is this going to be the trend? Will people be like before, like we're saying, like the comedian circuit, they do the stand-up comedy to get a pilot to a show on TV. Is this what everybody aspires to now? Where like you would aspire to have like an amazing YouTube channel and monetize it that way? Are you looking for a lucrative deal with Sirius, with Spotify, with iHearts, all those platforms?
Yes, I think when these all these platforms, these distribution platforms, they need content because now that everything is digital, that broadcast hour that was like is now, you get channels at 24/7
on demand.
Your favorite show, basically, and then other networks or other distributors need to compete with that with content. So it's like, we're going to look to these comics and up-and-comers for their following, because if they're listening to them, we're just going to stockpile a bunch of these people and create this.
I don't think he's going to have the same revolutionary effect as a Howard Stern.
No.
Different time, different era, not as much social, could get away with a lot more. So I'm actually expecting, unfortunately, like a watered down version of JRE. And that's not like wishing that upon him, but like it's part of, I think, what comes with that decision. I just think you can't help it. You go to a platform like that, no one gives you $100 million and it's like, do what you want. No, you're going to push our agenda now. I think. I could be wrong, but.
True. That could be. I'm holding out that it's not, but that.
No, nobody wants that.
No.
And then I think I want to add to that with respect to what's going on with YouTube has pretty stringent copyright rules now, or so in addition to that, like they don't want certain CV-19 rhetoric or claims on there, right? And there's been certain videos and guests and even channels that have been removed for interviewing such and such, polarizing individuals who have been outspoken about what's going on. One of the tweets with respect to a reaction to JRE moving on to Spotify was they can't help but think, is it possible that because of the way that YouTube has been regulating the videos and the shows lately, is this something that prompted him to move? So anyways, time will tell. Congratulations to Joe, $100 million man. Like asked him, like, frankly, do you ever think you would end up with a deal like this? I just can't see him saying.
Absolutely not. Yeah, no. Who do you think his first guest will be? You will tune in. You'll tune in for at least one show to see if you were right, okay. And who do you think that guest will be?
Okay, who is his first guest going to be? I think it'll just be like one of his old buddies, Joey Diaz, Brian Callen, Eddie Bravo, might be Greg Fitzsimmons, Tom Segura, like one of his buddies, like the mainstay guys. Because I think at least initially, they're not going to try to make him Oprah Winfrey and have like Dr. Fauci on. once that happens, I'll be like,
amazing.
At least he got the bank account, but
yeah. He said cash that check first.
Those guys that I named, like those are his buddies, the Death Squad comedians. Like that was the model to pump up their tickets and their ticket sales and give a platform so that you got to learn these guys outside of the stage. So yeah, we'll know one of two ways. If his guest list starts changing, then that's Spotify. If it's people, then it's Spotify saying, okay, let's grow those fan base, based on your regular guests, and let's go from there. Because they all have podcasts too.
Right.
From there.
Huh. That's a good point. That I think you've hit on something, a nice agenda that Spotify could be doing. Yeah. Let's say that they could leverage the Joe Rogan experience for
listeners, viewership, whatever.
Well, not just that, for vetting other comedians, let's say. Sure. Maybe that's the direction it goes.
Exactly.
We talked about like a Johnny Carson, like when you got called over Johnny Carson, you made it. Now,
yeah, there it is.
It could trend that way.
We'll see. Time will tell. But this was such topical news. I just saw it on Twitter, and I'm like, podcasters talk about podcasting, So, hopefully one day we'll be on Spotify like that too. With the but for the time being, if Joe flips the script, you can always watch the Podcast and Chill show for all the same things that he really just said.
Oh, fantastic.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Well, did you enjoy that? Any more thoughts you wanted to add?
No, I just wanted to say again, congrats. Like I think this is huge, and I think we'll see a big shift. I think it's amazing. Like,
oh gosh, like I said, it's a jealous side of me. Like that's incredible.
It's like, where's my contract?
I'm properly jealous.
Where's my contract, Joe?
I can push buttons. No, congratulations. It's phenomenal. And, obviously someone that I look up to inspired the start of this. There would not be any of this without the Joe Rogan.
Absolutely.
So, kudos to him. Congratulations. I just, like I said, I hope that the content and the guests and everything stay the same. And true to how he always has been and what got him there.
And as a fan, though, you got to let him know. If you catch a whiff, are you gonna send that communication to say, Joe, something's wrong?
Well, I
You
mean,
fell off, Joe.
I suppose so. Yeah, I don't.
As a fan, that's my responsibility.
Yeah, creativity over criticism, and
There it is.
I want happiness over hate. Like I don't want to root against him because his success, just it makes it possible for anybody who wants the same thing. So
Nice. Yes, absolutely.
and sometimes I just like being right. You know what I mean? But I'm not rooting for it.
It's everybody.
I'm like, okay, I'm sure someone could find in his past shows that he's like, I'll never change this platform, and they'll do that. But like, come on, when you smell it, It's like the Chappelle skit when wasn't he with Oprah and they're separated and they show the split screen and he's like with a crown and he's like wiping his tears with the money, like, oh, I'm so sad. But
so if Spotify came to you and goes, okay, we like what you're doing. You're not at that Joe Rogan level, but we can get you there. We're going to give you, we'll give you $1 million, but you got to change your platform.
Like, I wouldn't even know how to do that. And like, when a deal is too good to be true, there's a catch, right? Like, they would not be coming to me to give me an audience. I would have to bring the audience to them already. You know what I mean? So I just realized that that's something like that's not even fathomable.
Yeah, well, that's his leverage, right? Like, he is bringing an audience.
Yeah, and they're probably, their hope is like, we don't give a shit if you watch Joe, but we want an introduction so you come watch everything else.
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
Everybody else too. It's not just, so it's a smart move on their part. I believe in retail, they call it a loss leader.
There you go.
Costco, you want the toilet paper and the paper towel? Go to the ketchup and the marinara sauce and the 10-pound bag of almonds and the 5 pounds of mayonnaise.
That's right.
But I got it.
You just went in for 2 items, though.
Yeah, so don't be surprised when you're inundated with all these other shows and podcasts while you're listening to that, right?
Yeah.
Like I have a lot of iHeartRadio for workout. If I listen to workout music, it's like there's a pre-roll is like podcasts all the time, and like every couple minutes, pre-roll for something else. So anyways, super interesting. We'll keep an eye on it. And
absolutely.
Thoughts. I think I covered everything. I wanted to make sure I said Howard Stern. I wanted to make sure that, other names. Will he change his material? But good for him.
Absolutely.
$100 million man. Who knew? Like he gets paid more than the athletes.
Listen.
In UFC, he got paid more than the fighters. Like.
But I think I'm on Team Rogan. I think he deserves it. Because you tune in, like I tune in for him. I tune in for him as much as everybody else. So I'm like, you know what? Yeah, all right.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, absolutely. That's all right. Just good. All right, Tim. All right.
Thanks everybody for listening. This has been amazing. We're back at it. We're gonna have new material this week, more content. Pump us up so that we can get Spotify money.
No, pump us up so we can get enough Spotify tip. Come on, call us so we can call Joe.
What a ride. I love it. Listen to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube. We got to hit them all.
That deal pending, but like that deal's pending though. Yeah. Our deal is pending.
Yeah, exactly. There's some big news to be announced in the future. We're willing it to make it happen. But hopefully you had a laugh or two, you Joe Rogan Experience podcast fans and fans of the Podcast and Chill show.
Which is the best podcast you've never heard about it until right now. The incredible, funny, hilarious, always pleasant Neil Quinto.
And likewise, the incredible, funny, hilarious, incredible, dynamic, the maniac, the brainiac, Christopher Bernard, signing off. Stay tuned for more this week. Love you guys. Salute you. Love you.
Thank you so much for listening.
And
we'll see you again real soon.
Thank you.